Hello, my name is Kerry Martell, and I'm the president of a company called Zenither. And I have built the best video streaming platform that exists. And you've probably never heard of it because we're way underfunded. We've spent $1.2 million building our video streaming platform. And we spent it all basically in technology. And I had this assumption, this belief, which was mistaken. And the mistaken belief was that I'll build the best platform with the best features that content creators need to best monetize their content so that they don't have to be beholden to Facebook and Snapchat and YouTube and everything else. And because it's giving them better options to monetize their content, they'll gravitate toward it. And I was mistaken because the truth is a lot of YouTube creators are, quite frankly, naive. They're just naive. They think that if they just keep using these other platforms that treat them horribly, let's be honest here, horribly, if they keep using them, they'll somehow get better someday. It's been like, what, over 10 years now YouTube has been around. They're not going to get better. They're going to keep treating you like fucking shit because you let them. You let them do it. This is the truth. And I could say this because I used to run a YouTube MCN, which was very successful. I sold it within 9 months. I'm probably the only MCN founder in the entire world who sold his network within 1 year of founding it and became a vice president of a film studio. Me. And you probably never heard of me again because it's a big space out here. So, Zenither, I'm going to show you a demo of this software. It is the best software. And if you watch this video, you get to the end of it and you tell me that it doesn't have more features than something like YouTube, you know, I'll be shocked. It has the ability for content creators to fully control their content and monetize it. You can set the price, the minimum bidding price for ad inventory on your stations. You can do direct ad deals with the sponsors you already do. It is a better platform. But here's the most important thing. And before I show you the tech demo, I need to say this. When I was trying to raise capital for Zenither, we were out in LA doing the whole LA thing, living out of Hollywood. We tried to raise capital through angels out there and through VCs. And nobody wanted to give us funding because everybody thought Quibi was going to be the game changer. Everybody's saying differently now that, oh, everybody knew. That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. That's why Quibi raised $1 billion, you know, because people thought it was going to be successful. And they weren't funding other startups like us. And, you know, I'm still upset about it because if I had even $5 million, I would kick everybody else's ass. We would kick Netflix's ass because, let's be honest here, there aren't enough people in the world to subscribe to Netflix for them to ever make back the money that they spend in content. It is a bad business model that is just not scalable. It will eventually crash. It's going to. Hulu, I mean, honestly, Hulu is just a way for Disney to show their content. Now they got Disney Plus, and there's no difference between the two features. It's just another way for them to charge people more money for similar content. And Apple Plus isn't much better. You know, a lot of these platforms, they're designed to be little silos where people have to pay $20, $30, something a month for near identical content. It's just a way for them all to milk it. And the truth is, people do not want a bunch of different subscriptions to a bunch of different services that with all different user interfaces, different quality levels of experience. You know, you can be watching video perfectly on YouTube, then you try to go over to Disney Plus and things barely load. You know, there's no excuse for it. It's just a bunch of Hollywood executives who don't understand anything about technology. They really don't. Getting ripped off by a bunch of Silicon Valley engineers who are doing shit work and not really innovating at all. I'm going to show you something that's way more innovative than anybody else's platform, than anybody's, and it didn't cost us $1 billion to make it. It cost us 1.2, which is practically nothing. And if I had $5 million, I would have most of the content that is good and watchable that Netflix has and Hulu has. Because at the end of the day, most of that content is not exclusive to their platforms. Anybody can license it with some money. It doesn't cost that much. And that's another thing that investors don't seem to realize. Most of the content that's original, it's actually not original. It just has an exclusivity window. The content is owned by a different production company, and eventually, within those terms lapse, there's usually a couple years, anybody can license that content, which is why things like BoJack Horseman is now on cable television. It's not exclusive to Netflix. It's not original. It's not owned by them. It's owned by the production companies. So let me show you something way better than anybody else has. And with $5 million, I could beat every single one of them because we have better features for the users and the content creators. And I know that if we just had more content, we had ability to actually get people to watch our content, and we could monetize it with subscriptions and ads, we would be gangbusters. We would be just flying through the roof because this is a great business. It really is. And you just need the right technology. Hello, my name is Kerry Martell. I'm the president and founder of the company Zenither, and this is our product, the Zenither TV Guide app. I'm going to be shutting down the servers in a couple days, actually. This has been running for almost 2 years now in open beta state, and we just have had a lot of trouble raising capital. This is the web app to watch, and you can see it starts with the channel guide. We also have activity feeds, and if there was ever any new content that was released, this would have been the place to watch it. It's very similar to a YouTube subscription or a Facebook activity feed. We were also going to mix in posts like status updates and things like that into this field. You can see that there's trending comments. You can see the time period that people can search by, and they can also search their subscribers. I think this would have been a lot better format for an activity feed versus what is currently being used on Facebook Watch and on YouTube. But I guess we'll never see until I can get funding to actually do this software properly. The business model was basically cable TV without the internet. Anyone could create a channel, theoretically, with the content that they had, without having to pay enormous fees for broadcast automation software and any of the other types of infrastructure that currently has to be used. We basically have our own ad system that's integrated here that advertisers can advertisers can buy ads on ad inventory, and content owners can sell that inventory directly. So there doesn't need to be any middleman, but you can still search through the available inventory much like you would on Facebook or on Google AdWords. I'll show a short demo of that system in a later video. Right now I'm logged into a user account, and the basic watch experience is that you come to a channel guide and you click on, some video, and you watch it. And that's basically the idea. It says standby because we're basically winding down here. And I've shut off, I think I already have shut off the video server. So the premise was that people watch this way with a channel guide, with hourly scheduling programming. And that people still like that, which is why things like Sling TV are so highly subscribed. So I wanted to be able to offer this experience, but in a way that eliminates DVR. So let me back up here earlier at 3 o'clock. And I'll click on a program, and it will load that program. And you don't ever have to DVR or anything. You never need a DVR with the Zenither dynamic broadcasting system, which is patented. I have 10 patents on these technologies that the Zenither application is using. And we just completely eliminate DVR, which is important because DVR is owned by TiVo, and everybody has to pay tons of licensing fees to them for that technology. And it's not even great technology. With our system, different ads would show depending upon when they're watching it. So when the content is first released at, let's say a show comes out at 6 o'clock, that initial show, that ad inventory for that 6 o'clock release can be sold. But then you could have, on-demand, the on-demand ad inventory, like people watching it at later on in the day. after it's already been released, that can be different ad inventory that's sold. So it increases the opportunity for selling ad inventory. There's also station pages, much like a YouTube channel page. You could follow it if it's a free to watch channel. You follow it, and then it would appear in your channel guide in a customized area. And it would also see new uploads on the activity feeds as well. And each channel page has the current day schedule you can watch, and also lets you watch on-demand content, other episodes that are available to watch from that television program. We also had commenting. Commenting's on here. You can easily see the list of other episodes, or in this case movies, that are related to the topic of adventure movies. So that's the watch experience in a nutshell. We also have merchandise integrated in here, so people can buy t-shirts and DVDs and so forth. I'm currently not showing that feature, but that is also integrated here as well. It's ran through Shopify, it's powered through Shopify, so we don't actually get any commissions on those sales. This was just a quality of life feature for people using Zenither. Continuing with the demonstration, I'm noticing that there is, the mic is picking up the motherboard on my laptop for some reason. Apologies for sounding like there's a car or something. This is the publisher account that I'm now in, and this is the main one that we are using. As an example of how you would build a station, I'm going to go into our station builder. And this allows us to customize the channel guide for a show, for a channel. So you can create your own 24-hour broadcasting channel. You can customize the list of content that's available for release based on the time zone. So let's say I want to go to Pacific time zone here and change out this program with a different program. That's super easy to do. Let's say you're live streaming something. We have a feature here. I'm not going to go through it because I actually don't have any live content scheduled, but just as an example, you would click on Adjust for Live, and you would pick a scheduled live stream that you're planning to do, and it would ask you, what time of day do you plan to do the broadcast, and what time zone are you in for that broadcast? So if you're, as an example, in Los Angeles, your Pacific time, and you're going to broadcast at like 3, that would mean that you would be 6 o'clock on the East Coast. So instead of putting the broadcast at 3 p.m. on the East Coast, it would put it into the 6 p.m. slot, and it would adjust this for every time zone around the world for you. And if it needed to move content around, it would do that as well for you, and just make the process of streaming much easier for people to manage. The plan was for this to work with pre-recorded content on like a news channel, but then you can also schedule your live content well in advance. And all you had to do was set up a player that you were going to stream to in advance. There was some software that we created, or at least created a prototype of, called Zenither, which was meant to make this process much easier, and it basically would replace traditional live streaming software, and you would use our live streaming software instead to make it much easier. And one cool thing that Zenither would let you do that you couldn't do with anything else, because this is key to dynamic broadcasting method that we use. You would be able to go to a commercial break and have ads served directly into what's called the episode container. And that allows you to change out those ads at a later date without ever having to change or edit manually the broadcast. So if you were, like, let's say on Twitch, if you go to a commercial break on your own, like to a sponsor, you're literally putting a sponsored video into that feed itself, and that video is encoded into that stream. So anytime somebody else watches a later watch of that video, they're going to see that exact same commercial. With Zenither, when you go to commercial break, it doesn't actually put a particular video there. It just plays an ad. It makes a blank space, basically. Paraphrasing things here in layman's terms, but it makes a space for a future ad to be shown, which means that when somebody watches that broadcast in the future, a different ad can be slotted in there automatically through our software system. This was part of the selling point of dynamic television broadcasting from my perspective. We've patented this stuff. It's really great technology. It's so frustrating for me that people are not understanding the extreme advantages of our system. I just haven't been able to successfully raise capital with it. People gave $1 billion to Quibi and Jeffrey Katzenberg, who didn't understand what needed to be built. I built the right thing. I'm kind of pissed about it, to be honest. Anyway, continuing on. You want to make things a lot simpler on yourself, you can use what we call the release pattern. So let's say I have this show here. I've got this show Dragnet, and I'm going to select all the episodes in Season 1, and I'm going to select today until, I don't know, shit. Let's go a year in advance even. Let's go to next year, June. And I want to select it on Sunday. And let's say at 8 o'clock. So if I hit schedule content, it's going to put episode 1 of Dragnet the following Sunday this week. Episode 1 will be scheduled at 8 p.m. And the week after this, on Sunday at 8 p.m., it will schedule episode 2, and so on and so forth for all the episodes of the season. When it runs out of episodes, it will start over again from episode 1. So I can schedule an entire year of releases for a show in seconds, in just seconds. There is nothing faster. There's nothing faster. And what's important about this is that it also puts in all those ad spots and allows advertisers to buy those ad spots in the future for content that hasn't even been released yet. They can buy those ads still. This is a better system than anybody else has. We've got patents on all this stuff. Honestly, I don't know what the hell's wrong with the industry. Auto schedule is a feature that allows you to simply auto schedule. So it will take all the content that's on your channel and it will automatically create a schedule for you. It follows some basic rules. It's very basic AI that does this. I'm not going to get into the patent secrets of it, but it's very simple and it's straightforward, and it generates the channel for you. So if you're totally lazy and you want to just throw up a bunch of content, you could use this to quickly throw a channel up, and then you can come back over to the daily schedule or the release pattern features, and you can change out episodes and customize the feed a little bit better. And then whenever you want to do a live stream broadcast, you can schedule those live broadcasts using the Adjust for Live feature. So that's our scheduler, and I think it's one of the best. And again, anything that's been released one time, it's going to automatically appear on your channel section as a DVR content. And people can also search for it. We have search features on Zenither, so people can search for things on demand and watch them. We also have analytics. I'm not going to show a lot of the analytics because it gets boring, but we have analytics. We track things. And I guess if I had any stations here in this account created in the past couple days, I would have some statistics, but I don't. So, getting into the nuts and bolts of how you build a station, I would click Add a Station, and I would fill out the metadata, pick a category, pick the website URL. The website URL is a clickable link, and you can also pick the page, and this will actually generate it. Let's say I have funny cool channel, and it shows you right here, funny cool. So there's an actual shareable URL to make it very easy for people to share their stations on Zenither. And you can also list it as a simulcast. That means the whole channel is live, basically. So if you were to create a new channel, you would fill this out and then hit submit. I have previously filled out channel. Let's take classic ball television again as an example, and I'm going to look at the shows that have been created. So you create a show name, fill out the description, and fill out the duration of how long it is. And we standardize this. We standardize it in 5-minute chunks. So it has to be like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, so forth and so forth. That makes it easy to schedule, fit content into a time slot, just the way that traditional television works. They fit into traditional time slots. Pick the URL, again, shareable URL. This is the Shopify collection for being able to sell merchandise. And for people that are running networks, like I had a YouTube MCN back in the day. And it's always difficult to have to build all this fucking software to be able to track people's earnings so I can pay them correctly. This feature is built in. This feature is right here, earnings percentage for third-party network. I would put in the percentage of that I'm going to share with those creators, and it will automatically track this stuff for you. Zenither is designed to make it easy to license content from other creators and put it on your network, basically. It has the best features, honestly. I'm fucking pissed that people gave $1 billion to Quibi. They should have gave this money to me, and I know I'm super biased in this, but look at the features that I've put into this. Like what I've just shown you right now is more features than anybody else has who's doing video streaming. They're all very selfish, closed platforms. They're not designed to be friendly to content creators. I have the best platform to be friendly with content creators and to people who are trying to run this as a business, to build great things. We have the best features. Automatically track the earnings for creators so you can easily pay them. This is built into Zenither from day one. So here's a Bonanza show in the public domain, and I've got a bunch of episodes here for it. And let's just go into the metadata here. I can easily fill out the metadata, pick the category for the show, and that actually picks the color. The color in the channel guides is the type of show. So as an example, sports and gaming content is green, movies are red, and so on and so forth. It's meant to make it a lot easier for the audience to know what the content is about. You can enter keywords here. I'm talking really fast because I see that this is already a 10-minute segment here. Going into the episode itself, I'm going to put this in graph mode so you can get a better sense of this. An episode container is part of the dynamic TV broadcasting system. So you take a video player link. This does support YouTube, but it's primarily meant to use private players like JW Player. You put your metadata for the link of that private video, and you have to connect the API into your account to access the JW Player. You put you would bring a player in. It would appear here as one of these gray segments. So as an example, this is a classic vault bump. This is basically the intro for the station, a station ID like you would normally see on traditional broadcasting. Then I have the episode here of the Bonanza, and then I have these yellow segments called ad segments. And you can place an ad segment just by clicking the button called Place Ad Segment. Each of these ad segments is 15 seconds in duration. So this is kind of like a playlist in a way, but it's more sophisticated than that. This is the episode container is a template for a television episode that you can schedule. And each of these ad segments here can show different ads. And it works in a very unique way. You'll notice each of these is 15 seconds in duration, which is the smallest size ad can possibly be on network television. By having a uniform duration for ads, it allows television networks to be able to sell different ads at different durations. So I can sell 30-second ads, 60-second ads, 2-minute ads, so on and so forth, everything broken down into 15-second segments. Now, with the Zenither ad system, let's say I'm an advertiser and want to advertise on Bonanza with a 30-second commercial. So it would take two of these segments and combine them together into one ad segment and show that 30-second ad. And it can do that for 60-second, 35-second, 65-second, so on and so forth. Not 65, but you get the idea. It can do it all the way up to about 5-minute long movie trailer. And I can show different content in between. This allows you to customize the scheduling and the appearance of an episode. So this is very similar to how you would program a television station airing using very expensive licensed television broadcast automation software. This is all built in. You see I'm operating this on a laptop. This isn't even a good laptop. This is a Chromebook. So you can build a television network with a crappy laptop and operate it 24/7 for years using the Zenither system, and it's super cheap, and it's just better than anybody else's system. It just is. And once you've created one of these templates, you can always schedule them on any day you want without ever having to come in and change anything. But if you wanted to make changes, it would change that template, so it then changes all the episodes that you've scheduled. So you never need to try to re-edit multiple different videos on future days. It's just that one segment that has to change within this container here. Very simple and easy to use. If you can schedule content on Facebook, if you can manage social media, you can now run a television network using Zenither. It's just awesome software. As the final segment for this short demonstration of the Zenither system, and I'm really going quickly through the features here. I'm not showing the depth as I really should, but I don't want this to be too long of a video. This is the ad system, and currently I'm in an agency account. And the agency account allows you to see the target audience information. And this has been integrated with Axiom's system. So I can see a lot of great information about audiences who are registered users on Zenither who are watching content. I can see their education levels. I can target by work occupations, and if they're full-time owners, business owners, things like that. Let's see, accountant, contractor, makers, all kinds of different data from Axiom. Residents, I can track people that recently bought homes, how long they've had a house for, household information, number of adults, number of children, generations of people, composition, if they're African Americans, parents. There's just so much information here. Basically, we have the exact same targeting capabilities that AdWords and that Facebook does, but we can track other information, like the kinds of content people are watching. What's great about this system is it allows you to laser target audiences and then advertise on content that they watch on Zenither. And you can buy ads in different ways. You can buy ads in a very TV traditional way where I'm going to have my commercial shown in a certain geographic city, like let's say Dallas, Texas. I'm going to show a car dealership commercial for my car dealership. And I can't really show it here because I don't have any ads scheduled, and to be honest, I don't even want to bother making an ad. But you can click on a button on the top right corner when people see an ad. It says, I'm interested, and when they click on it, they get emailed an offer from that advertiser. So as the example with the car commercial, if I own a car dealership and I show a car commercial, anybody who sees my car commercial, they're interested in seeing that car, they click I'm interested, and they get emailed an offer from my dealership, and I'm inviting them to schedule a time to come down and see that model of car, take it for a test drive. And I can target people who are in my specific geographic area, and everybody who watches this TV program, this show, let's say it was Bonanza. Everybody who watches Bonanza at 3 o'clock, at the 3:15 minute mark, they're going to see my commercial for like 60 seconds, and if they click in the top right corner, it says, I'm interested, they're going to get an offer. This is a feature that exists that I have patents around. Zenither is a great system, man. I mean, honestly. Other targeting features, ethnicities, incomes, parents, households. I guess I mentioned households before. I just got it all, man. I got Life Pass. We got all kinds of information. So if they're planning to have a baby, if you have a company that's targeting new parents, expectant parents, you can find them on Zenither. So, yeah, you would click new audience, create an audience that you're targeting certain people, and then it would show you different channels and different shows on those channels that have a lot of people who are watching that content that fit your audience. It's actually going to show you the audience share, like traditional Nielsen level audience share, who fit your targeted demographic. So you can advertise to them. You can advertise with dynamic advertising, where only people who, the pragmatic targeted dynamic advertising, I should say. So it only shows that people who are watching older releases of stuff on demand. Those ads will always show only to people who fit that demographic. But if it's a new release of an episode, like Big Bang Theory, for example, you're going to have to compete against other people that want to get that ad inventory for the first releases. And that model works a lot better for content creators, I think, than the dynamic programmatic model that almost everybody uses for video streaming. We do that for on-demand content, but not for the new releases of new premiere episodes. Content owners have the ability to sell that inventory at a marked up price because they have to. Otherwise, the economics of television just don't work. Other features that are built into Zenither that I'm not demoing right now, we do support free-to-watch channels supported entirely by ads, and we support basic sort of cable package style channels where you have to be subscribed to a bundle of content, like 100 different channels, for like $9.99 a month. And we support multiple types of content programming bundles. So we could have a language channel bundle, like a bunch of Spanish channels, a bunch of Japanese channels, Russian channels, so on and so forth. And of course, your more exclusive premium movie channels that don't have any advertising at all, like your HBO and Showtime and things like that. So Zenither has all the features. We didn't fully implement on-demand purchases and rentals in Zenither. And those two features are basically the only thing that's missing from Zenither. We got mobile apps, web app, we have most of smart TV apps that were done but just never released, and we were missing pay-per-view basically. That was it. Everything else is built into it, and we've got a lot of features that nobody else has. Again, we have search. A lot of video streaming competitors like Pluto TV don't have search. I don't know why, they're just not very good. Our system's better, and quite honestly, it's kind of frustrating for me. We've spent so much money, like $1.2 million into building this system, and we just had a really hard time getting people to come, and use it. And part of it's the content. It costs money to license content to bring audiences over. Originally, I thought we'd just get a bunch of YouTubers to come over and bring their content and sell their ads in a better way. But then a lot of these YouTubers just don't understand business, and they don't feel confident that they can sell advertising. And it's strange because if you're confident you can do sponsorships, then you can also sell your own recyclable ad inventory. It's the same thing, guys. You just need a better system to do it, and Zenither gives you that system. And if you don't want to sell your own ads, it doesn't matter because we're integrated with SpotX, so SpotX will automatically fulfill your ad inventory for you if you want. And, shit, I don't know what more to say. Zenither is a great system, and even if this venture doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, I guarantee you that this is how content is going to be done in the future by everybody else. So whoever, if somebody buys our patents, they'll do it, or if our patents expire, then they'll imitate us, because this is the best way to do television in the current age. And everybody else is still kind of either a Netflix clone, or they're piggybacking off of traditional older infrastructure, doing things like Sling TV, which are still downloading signals from outer space and running it through a CDN, using DVR, which is old, antiquated, and costs a lot for royalties. Our system's better, and I don't honestly understand why people gave $1 billion to Quibi. I'm kind of frustrated about that, because we were trying to raise money from some of the same people, and I actually got told by people that they're putting money into Quibi and not us, because they thought Jeffrey Katzenberg had it all figured out. And I told them, like, look, it's not going to work. This is not what people want. You need to have a real technology, and you need to supply the content creators what they need. And this is what they need. And if you give us, I don't even need $1 billion. All I needed was $3 million to license some content, get some audiences going. And then once we had enough traction, I felt very confident that a lot of large YouTubers would come over to us. Didn't happen. So here we are. But I'm shutting down the servers from open beta. But I wanted to make a video that showed all of our features. I don't normally show this stuff publicly, especially the ad stuff, because it's a competitive advantage. But otherwise, if I don't show it, no one's going to see it. So, hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in working with us in some capacity, feel free to reach out to me. I'm a very easy guy to find. Thank you so much. So if you have made it to the end of this software demo, congratulations. You stuck in there. Now tell me, honestly, isn't this a pretty good looking platform? It is, isn't it? It's honestly not that expensive to make this software, and a lot of big companies get totally ripped off by a bunch of Silicon Valley, millennial types who think that they're so fucking smart and so clever, but they'll spend $1 billion building a shitty app like Quibi, and content that's basically unwatchable because the producers, it's just a con game is what it is. It's a con game for investors. You don't need that much money to do this business. What you need is ingenuity and to really understand it. Now, I spent a lot of time talking about the ad capabilities, and I talk about things like being able to track the earnings of creators' shows. These are features that other apps don't have. YouTube in particular, you would think YouTube would have features to assist MCNs. YouTube ain't got shit, okay? I can say this because I was an MCN founder. You have to build your own software to reverse engineer aspects of YouTube's API for their CMS account. And you have to match individual video IDs to those channel IDs because YouTube doesn't do this by default. We had to spend around $20,000 building a billing system to be able to pay creators. Crazy. Crazy. It should be built into the platform, and it's not, because the people at YouTube do not give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about you. They really don't. I've met these people. I know these people. I did consulting for years. They don't give a fuck about you. All they care about is getting promoted within Google's little ecosystem. That's all they fucking care about. And they do the bare minimum of work, which is why the features on YouTube are shit. And there's tons of bugs that shouldn't be there. All kinds of other horseshit. It's a bad company. It is a bad company. It just is. Everything that we've built on Zenither, they could have done years ago. They could have done this stuff, and they chose not to. YouTube is a glorified music player that shows videos, and it has a search algorithm, and that's basically it. And it's built into AdWords for video. And the only reason Google cared about it was because they wanted to show video ads on it. That's it. That's their only interest. And every change they've made on YouTube has been so that they can make more money controlling the ad inventory, selling it at rock bottom prices, so people can get like 1 million views and get like a little over 10 grand. If you had 1 million views in a traditional television network, you'd be getting a lot more money, considerably more, shit. That's like the premier viewership for some major networks on TV programs. The ones they spend millions of dollars making. Why can they spend millions of dollars making those shows, but you can't spend millions of dollars on a YouTube video? It's because the TV networks sell their own ads, and they charge prices accordingly. And on YouTube, you can't charge shit. And sure, there are some MCNs that say, oh, you can sell ads. They are fucking lying to you. There is very limited capability for MCNs to be able to sell their own pre-roll ads. And you are very limited by what Google is selling the ad inventory for. It's the truth. So, if you want to break free of the yoke, then you need to work with people like me. And I'm cursing here because I'm pissed, Quibi spent $1 billion. Can you believe that nonsense? $1 billion into a obviously bad application with a terrible, horrendous business model. Terrible business model. I told people at the time, you shouldn't invest in them. You should invest into us. We make sense. We've got the right features. The truth is that you need a platform that's going to be able to take on independent content creators like YouTubers and influencers that needs to let them start their own TV networks. And if it works for them, then it'll work for the major networks too. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? If you can allow someone like PewDiePie to start their own television network, then it's going to work for the big networks too. And you know what? You'll probably have better money making opportunity letting influencers like PewDiePie start their own TV networks because they command far larger audiences than a lot of these TV networks do. Even though the TV networks make way more money than he does, even though he has a larger audience than some of them do. He still doesn't make nearly as much money, and it's because he is not in control of his ad inventory. He honestly probably couldn't even tell you exactly who his audience is. Because all you get on YouTube is age, sex, location, and a vague idea of geographic location. You don't know a goddamn thing else about your audience. So how are you supposed to have meaningful conversations with advertisers if you don't know your audience? That's the basics of advertising. You have to know who the hell it is watching your show. And just assuming it's gamers, you know, there's a lot of different sub-demographics within gamers, you know? You need to have a more specific idea than that. God, guys, you know, imagine today, if you're an influencer, imagine if you wake up tomorrow and YouTube has killed your channel. What are you going to fucking do? How are you going to talk to your audience? Do you have a mailing list? What if you consolidate your audience over on Facebook? What if Facebook decides they want to get rid of you? And Twitter and all that other jazz. They all hang out with each other. They all travel in the same circles. What if they decide that your politics aren't great and they all cancel you? What are you going to do? You're not going to do anything because you don't have any real control over yourselves. And while you can say Zenither is also a platform we could technically pull anybody, that's actually highly unlikely, because I am not a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm done with the party. And I'm not a Republican either. I'm done with Republicans. I'm centrist. I'm basically independent. If Bernie Sanders, you know, had won the nomination one time in the past 8 years, I'd vote for him. And I'm not going to be deceived by Biden. I'm not going to be deceived by Trump. My eyes are wide open. So I don't have a political dog in the fight. I believe in open platforms. I believe that television, it should be a public service to serve the public good. I believe that there should be more legislation about these things. And there's no way that I would ever kick people off my platform or silence, like the New York Times, you know, over articles for political purposes. That's complete madness. Can you imagine, you know, can you imagine that it ever happening any time in the past? Things are getting out of hand, but people keep using these platforms that are doing evil. They're doing evil, and they're not working with startups like Zenither. And that's on you. That's on you. Because our platform is here with the best features. We have the best features to help the content creators break free of the chains of all these other assholes and actually be able to sell their ad inventory at the correct, real prices that they could charge for them. You can get a sponsorship on a video. If you can get a sponsorship on a video, you can sell recyclable ad inventory on your channel. You can do the same fucking thing. You just need the right tools. And I built those tools for you on our platform. So if you made it to the end of this video and you're a content creator that's very large, you know, somebody that commands millions of views, you need to ask yourself, why the fuck aren't you working with us? And if someday the political zeitgeist changes in a direction where you get canceled, you're the one who's the New York Times, and your channel is removed and your business is destroyed, you have only yourself to blame for it. And if you're an investor putting money into stupid projects like Quibi instead of startups like ours, where we have 10 patents on our technologies and we have a better platform and we spend in a more intelligent way, that we build better technology and better features and we don't waste money, you have only yourself to blame too. Netflix will crash. There is not enough people in the world for them to make back the money that they spend in content. There isn't. So if you keep in, I mean, shit, man, we've been through the dot-com bubble burst before in the 90s. If you didn't learn it then, you're still not going to get it. So I don't know what more to say. I'm having to shut down my servers because people are just naive. And I'm just going to say it bluntly like that because I don't give a shit anymore at this point. We have better technology. We have patents. Most streaming platforms don't have patents. We built the right thing. And because we don't have a bunch of users, because you need to bring your audience over to our platform in order for this business model to work, because we don't have users, you know, maybe that won't work. It'll fucking work. I built it. We spent $1.2 million building the damn thing. Okay? All you have to do is bring your audience over, and you better monetize them. And you know that you can make money because you can sell your own ads. If you can get sponsorships, you can sell your own ads. It's real fucking simple. We made it super easy to do so. So, even if you're a lazy asshole, SpotX will sell the ads for you. You know? It's I don't know. I just don't give a shit anymore. So, shutting down the servers. And this video will basically be the legacy of Zenither and what it was and what it could have been if people had just been a little bit more smart and not put all their eggs in baskets into nonsense like Quibi and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. So there's where it stands.